Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Outdoor Adventure Series podcast, where we celebrate individuals and families, businesses, and organizations that seek out and promote the exploration, stewardship, conservation, access, and enjoyment of the outdoors. Dr. Chad Nelsen is our guest on the Outdoor Adventure Series today. Chad is the CEO of the Surfrider Foundation and leads the world's largest grassroots network dedicated to the protection and enjoyment of the world's ocean, waves, and beaches through approaches that integrate coastal recreation with conservation. Chad, it's a pleasure to have you on the Outdoor Adventure Series podcast. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me, Howard.
Fantastic. And let's get right into it. What is the Surfrider Foundation?
The Surfrider Foundation is a grassroots coastal and ocean conservation organization. So our goal is really to take the passion for people who love our coasts and our oceans, which are just everyone, and convert that passion to action and stewardship to protect our coasts and oceans. So we work in coastal communities all over the country and the world, and have over 140 high school and college clubs, all rallying around protecting our oceans from plastic pollution, keeping the water clean, keeping our beaches healthy. And we can scale that up from the local to the state up to the federal level.
Fantastic. And I have to say, the work is cut out for you guys. There's just so much pressure, tension everywhere we look. And and there's so much need to combat that pressure and tension.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think for many years, we felt the oceans were too big to impact. Unfortunately, as a result, we've used them as a dumping grounds for many things. And that's catching up with us. Now we see plastic pollution is ubiquitous in the ocean. Our sort of wastewater systems that are pouring effluent into the water are having negative impacts. We're seeing these big algal blooms. Even climate change, there's now marine heat waves. Just last week, there were sort of record temperatures in the North Atlantic impacting Europe. So the heat that the ocean absorbed is now coming back out in marine heat waves. So plenty of work to be done.
Plenty of work. And I'm curious, how did your career with Surfrider Foundation take root? I mean, because you've been the CEO for a number of years, but you actually were a member of the organization before that. So how did this journey into an organization like Surfrider Foundation, how did that come about?
Yeah, it's a great question. I've been here too. This summer will be my 25th year at Surfrider. So I'm a lifer. So I've been at this here for a long time. And in 1995, I was a grad student intern. So I'm kind of a mailroom to the CEO kind of character. But like so many things, it was half intention and half luck. I grew up on the beach. I was a surfer, lifeguard, fisherman, ocean kid. Didn't really know how lucky I was to be doing that because it's all I knew. And as I saw sort of impacts happen to Southern California from overdevelopment and other things, I gained an interest in the environment. And interestingly enough, I didn't put those two together. I think in my early years, sort of if you wanted to pursue a career around the ocean, you were either a fisherman or you were Jacques Cousteau, a marine biologist. And so I kind of actually started looking at other types of environmental activism. It was a mentor, a friend of my father's that sort of said, hey, you can have a whole career around ocean and coastal conservation. And the light bulb went off and I was like, oh, well, that's exactly what I want to do with my life. And I ultimately, probably the biggest pivot was going to grad school at Duke University. They have a coastal environmental management program, like a master's. I call it an MBA for the ocean. And that program really opened my eyes and launched my career.
Okay. And as you launched this career, how did you discover the Surfrider Foundation and its mission and kind of latch onto it?
Yeah. Growing up in Southern California and being a surfer, I was kind of generally aware. The organization was founded in 1984. So I was 14 at the time. And so I was kind of generally aware of the organization. And I thought it was interesting because historically surfers have had this negative reputation, spicoli, burnout, dropout, not contributing to society. So, and as someone who was like a surfer and also a scholar, which was somewhat unusual, I was like, hey, this sounds interesting to me. And during those 2 years of grad school, and I was deciding this is the career I wanted to make. I was broke, like most grad students are. My dad ran at the time a marine science summer camp. So I was volunteering, working for him to make some money. And Surfrider was just down the road. So I called them up and said, hey, do you need a free intern? And they said, sure. So in some ways, I just it was a little bit of luck and a little bit of me being inquisitive, I guess.
Really to the, as you said, from the mailroom to the front office.
Yeah, that's right.
You mentioned, as you were describing the foundation, these chapters that are all over the coastal areas within the U.S. and also working with students, they being a lot of the advocates, and because that's part of what you do when you're in school. You get involved in local initiatives, activities. How has it continued to evolve for the organization to recruit students? It would seem that there's a growing awareness around a generation younger than I am, perhaps even younger than you are. They're very much aware of what's going on around them, and to see organizations like that, is there a difficulty getting students involved, or are they like knocking down the door?
No, it's interesting because a lot of organizations that are, well, probably our age or older, the Sierra Club, NRDC, the Nature Conservancy, their average age of sort of member supporters is increasing, and they're concerned about that. And ours is actually decreasing. We're getting younger because our strongest growth is with these young kids, these high school and college kids, and so they're knocking down the door. I think that's because we maintain sort of a youthful, we have surfing and ocean recreation, and we've intentionally kind of maintained a youthful brand and energy around and been welcoming to them. I think this current sort of Gen Z, I guess you call them, this sort of like teens to 20 somethings are maybe the most motivated to protect our planet of any prior generation, partly because they're going to deal with a lot of the consequences that our generations have created. So I feel like they're there, and if you can provide opportunities that are meaningful and fun and create community, which is kind of the secret sauce of our organizing, there's more kids and more interest than we can keep up with, which is really a good thing.